As the first rays of dawn begin to spread across the African savanna, a new day begins. From above, vast grasslands stretch to the horizon. The pale golden sunlight gradually falls upon the earth, awakening a world that never truly sleeps. Every creature here faces the same challenge: to survive another day. The cool morning air brought brief moments of peace. Birds chirped from the distant trees, while herds of grazing animals began to leave their shelters after a long night. On the open fields, zebras and antelopes began searching for tender grass. They ate quickly, but remained vigilant. On the savanna, danger could appear at any moment. As the sun rises higher, another predator begins its daily routine. Hyenas patrol their territory, traveling long distances in search of opportunities. They are often considered scavengers, but in reality, they are highly effective hunters. Their keen sense of smell and hearing allows them to spot vulnerable prey from a great distance. Not far away, a pride of lions awoke from their night's slumber. The cubs frolicked among the tall grass, while the adults silently observed the surrounding land. Hunger would soon drive them to action. Every hunt was a gamble, and every meal was earned through hard work. Near a watering hole in the distance, a family of elephants was slowly making their way across the dusty land. Leading the way was the most experienced female elephant in the herd. The calves stayed close to their mother, protected by the strength and solidarity of the entire herd. For all creatures on the savanna, water is life. In that brief moment, predator and prey share the same living space. Yet beneath that peaceful facade lies ever-present tension. The African savanna is one of the harshest environments on Earth. Each day brings new dangers, new opportunities, and new struggles. As the morning draws to a close, the stories of survival are just beginning. Today, predators will set out in search of prey. Herbivores will seek safety. And across this vast wilderness, a new chapter of the struggle for survival will continue to be written under the African sun. Amidst the increasingly intense heat of the savanna, an unexpected incident is about to ignite a dangerous confrontation. While playing and exploring the world around it, a lion cub accidentally separated from its pride. Unaware of the dangers lurking, it wandered further and further away from its mother's protection. Ahead lay a herd of African buffalo resting and grazing. The adult buffalo immediately spotted the uninvited guest. Despite being just a small lion cub, their instincts of vigilance caused the entire herd to become tense. The lion cubs stood motionless amidst the encirclement of the enormous bodies. Every step of the buffalo herd could become a deadly threat. In the distance, the lioness realized her cub was missing. She sniffed and searched for traces. Soon, the cub's calls led her to the scene. But the appearance of the lioness only made the situation more dangerous. For the buffalo herd, this was no longer a stray calf. Now, a real predator had entered their territory. The lioness tried to approach her cub, but the buffalo herd showed no intention of giving way. Within seconds, the fight erupted. The led buffaloes immediately formed a defensive formation. They lowered their sharp horns and advanced forward. Heavy breathing and the pounding of their hooves signaled an impending conflict. The wild buffaloes charged forward like a storm. Their immense strength and unity formed an almost impenetrable wall. Recognizing the perilous situation, the other lions in the pride quickly rushed to their aid. However, instead of retreating, the buffalo herd became even more aggressive. The lion's roars mingled with the buffalo's fierce bellows, echoing across the savanna. The relentless attacks caused immense difficulties for the lion pride. Each thrust from their sharp horns could inflict serious injury. Overwhelmed by the pressure from dozens of wild buffaloes defending their territory, the lion pride was finally forced to retreat. Some leaped onto nearby trees to escape the relentless pursuit. From atop the trees, they could only watch as the buffalo herd continued its patrol below. Today, the power of unity prevailed. The herd of wild buffalo successfully defended their territory and forced the most powerful predators of the savanna to flee. In this harsh land, even lions are not always victorious. Sometimes it is the unity and courage of the prey that determines the outcome of the struggle for survival. Overwhelmed by the wild buffalo herd, the lions were gradually pushed back towards the bushes and high mounds of earth. The prolonged chase created a cloud of dust that covered the entire savanna. However, at the height of the battle, something unusual happened. From behind the formation, the panicked cries of the mother buffaloes rang out. During the melee, several young buffaloes had been severely injured and could not survive. In the midst of the chaos, a mature wild buffalo unexpectedly broke away from the group. It charged forward, unaware of the danger that awaited it. In an instant, the ground beneath collapsed. The adult buffaloes immediately stopped their pursuit. Their anger quickly gave way to worry. One by one, they returned to where the calves lay. The lions were now far away. Seeing the predators leaving their territory, the buffalo herd ceased their attack. The final battle is over. The buffalo herd successfully defended their territory and forced the lions to retreat. But that victory brought no joy. The isolated wild buffalo was no longer able to escape. Meanwhile, the majority of the herd was still busy chasing lions ahead and hadn't yet noticed their fellow buffalo in danger. Realizing their prey was unable to free itself, the pride of lions simultaneously launched an attack. A fierce struggle ensued in the mud, where the buffalo desperately fought back with all its remaining strength. And with just a moment of carelessness, the buffalo became a meal for the lions, even though they were defeated and driven out of their territory. But in this wilderness, peace rarely lasts long. A giant Nile monitor lizard slowly crawls across the scorching ground. With its tongue constantly flicking out to sense its surroundings, it searches for food among the rocks and bushes along the riverbank. Then only a few dozen centimeters remained. A surprise attack could decide the fate of both. In the arid lands along the Nile River, a new battle broke out. The battle erupted instantly. Both continuously circled each other on the barren ground. Each understood that even a small mistake could cost them their lives. Meanwhile, perched on a large tree branch not far from the scene, an uninvited guest was silently observing. The snake possesses deadly venom, but its slender body makes it highly vulnerable to a bite from the monitor lizard's strong jaws. Conversely, the monitor lizard has superior strength, but a single well-placed bite can end the fight instantly. After resting briefly to regain its strength, it slowly left the battlefield. The fierce confrontation seemed to have drained a great deal of the reptile's energy. The leopard silently approached the monitor lizard. The distance between the two predators narrowed. The monitor lizard quickly noticed the presence of the uninvited guest. It immediately stopped, raised its head, and directed its wary gaze forward. The atmosphere became tense. On one side was a Nile monitor lizard that had just survived a life-or-death battle. On the other side was one of the most dangerous predators of the savannah. The leopard took a few more steps and then stopped. Perhaps it realized that a mature monitor lizard with strong jaws and sharp claws could inflict serious injury. After observing for a while, the leopard decided to abandon its intention. The afternoon sun cast its light on the dry grass along the riverbank. After hours of observing and moving, the predator began searching for an easier hunting opportunity. Soon, a small movement in the bushes caught its attention. It was an African porcupine slowly foraging for food. For many predators, porcupines are a risky target. But hunger sometimes forces predators to take risks. The leopard slowly approached. Each step was almost silent. It used the tall grass to conceal itself before getting close enough. Suddenly, the leopard lunged. But the hedgehog reacted quickly. It immediately turned its back to its opponent and raised its thousands of sharp spines, covering its entire body. The leopard circled around, trying to find a weak point dot. It tried approaching from the left. Then it switched to the right. Immediately, it recoiled violently. Several spines had pierced the leopard's snout and face. In sudden pain, the leopard shook its head repeatedly and retreated away from its opponent. This meal wasn't worth the risk of more serious injury. It gave up the hunt, turned around, and quickly left the area. Meanwhile, the porcupine slowly lowered its spines and continued its foraging as if nothing had happened. Once again, the savanna proved that size or strength doesn't always determine the winner. Sometimes, an effective defense system can make even the most formidable predators hesitate and retreat. Amidst the hot sand by the water's edge, a mother crocodile carefully buried her nest of eggs beneath the soft soil. After weeks of protection, the hatching day was drawing near. However, these eggs also attracted the attention of many opportunistic predators. The salamander began to dig. Layers of sand were tossed aside. Soon, crocodile eggs were revealed before its eyes. For the salamander, this was a nutritious and easily accessible food source. The mother crocodile has returned. In just seconds, she realizes her nest of eggs is being invaded. Her protective instincts for her offspring immediately kick in. Sensing danger, the salamander immediately fled. A short but tense chase ensued on the scorching sand. The crocodile relentlessly closed in, forcing the salamander to accelerate to maximum speed to escape. Finally, the egg-eating predator disappeared behind the bushes along the riverbank dock. The nest was now secure. In the days that followed, the mother crocodile barely left the area. She patiently guarded the nest, warding off any threats that came near. Then the crucial moment finally arrived. From beneath the sand, tiny sounds began to emanate. The eggs began to crack one by one. After weeks of waiting, the baby crocodiles began to hatch. But danger quickly appeared. High in the sky, an eagle circled, searching for prey. Its sharp eyes quickly spotted the slightest movement along the riverbank. It was the perfect opportunity. The eagle narrowed its wings and began to swoop down. Below, the young crocodiles were completely unaware of the approaching danger. The distance was getting shorter and shorter, but the mother crocodile had spotted the predator from above. It immediately positioned itself in front of its cubs, head held high and jaws bared as a warning. As the eagle lowered its altitude to approach, the mother crocodile suddenly launched. This fierce reaction forced the predatory bird to change course at the last second. It soared into the air and continued circling above. But thanks to the protection of the mother crocodile, those tiny creatures overcame the danger. In this wilderness, the struggle for survival begins the moment a creature utters its first cry.
Across the vast grasslands of Africa, survival belongs to those able to adapt. Here, Beneath the open sky, every day begins with a search for food. Some leave only traces behind, tracks, scents, and signs hidden in the dust. This is a honey badger, one of Africa's most determined survivors. Every day begins with a search for food across a landscape where resources are scattered and unpredictable. A powerful sense of smell helps uncover prey hidden beneath the surface. Few animals are better equipped for excavation. Strong claws can reach food inaccessible to most predators. Small prey may seem insignificant, but such meals provide the energy needed for survival. Across the savanna, every food source matters. Even a termite mound can become an important opportunity. The savanna offers many food sources, but few come easily. Persistence often matters more than strength. For a predator willing to work for its meals, even insects become valuable fuel. Finding food often requires covering long distances across an unforgiving landscape. Every scent carries information. Some lead to prey, others warn of danger. Life here demands endurance. Food can never be taken for granted. Beneath the surface, another challenge has already begun. A new generation now depends entirely on its mother. For the first weeks of life, protection is every bit as important as food. Growth begins quickly, but the outside world remains far beyond reach. Few animals are better equipped for excavation. Strong claws can reach food inaccessible to most predators. Soon, curiosity will draw it beyond the safety of the den and into the vast African savanna. For the first time, the young honey badger enters a world far larger than the den it has always known. Every object, scent, and sound becomes part of an education that will shape its future survival. For now, most food still comes from the efforts of its mother. Long before hunting begins, learning starts through observation. With each journey, the young honey badger becomes more familiar with the landscape. A keen sense of smell will become one of its most valuable tools. Curiosity often leads to discovery, but it can also create risks. Digging is instinctive, but mastery takes time and practice. Experience is built through repetition, one lesson at a time. Even the smallest success helps build the skills needed for independence. As confidence grows, the young honey badger begins exploring food sources on its own. The landscape is filled with information for those able to interpret it. Small acts of independence gradually prepare it for a solitary future. Many lessons begin with simple discoveries. Among the savanna's most valuable food sources is one hidden behind a formidable defense. Experience teaches caution. Not every reward can be taken without preparation. Strong claws allow access to resources unavailable to many other animals. Honey, wax, and larvae provide a rich source of energy. Many of the most important lessons are learned simply by watching. The search for food is never separated from the need for caution. Survival often depends not on confrontation, but on avoiding unnecessary risks. For a young honey badger, learning when to retreat is as important as learning how to forage. Not every danger announces itself. Some remain hidden until the last moment. Experience teaches caution. A mistake here could carry serious consequences. Avoiding danger is often more valuable than testing it. As conditions change, flexibility becomes essential. Food is rarely concentrated in one place. Finding it often requires persistence. Even the most determined animals must balance effort with recovery. Months of practice are beginning to produce real results. A keen sense of smell will become one of its most valuable tools. Independence arrives gradually, measured through experience rather than age alone. Skills that once required observation are now becoming instinctive behaviors. With growing confidence comes the need to make decisions alone. Few animals are better equipped for excavation. Strong claws can reach food inaccessible to most predators. The lessons learned over many months are now paying dividends. Repeated success marks an important transition from learning to mastery. The bond remains, but the distance between them is beginning to grow. Soon, each will follow a separate path through the same landscape. There is no ceremony in the wild. Independence arrives quietly. For the first time, its future will be shaped entirely by its own choices. The challenges ahead remain the same. Only the traveler has changed. Across the savannah, countless lives continue their search for survival after dark. Another day begins, and another chapter unfolds. From a hidden den beneath the earth to a life of independence across the plains, the cycle continues. In Africa,
as dawn breaks across Africa, one of the continent's great rivers begins another day. These waters sustain countless lives, shaping an ecosystem that changes with every season. Along its banks, every species depends on access to water. Among the river's most influential residents are the hippopotamuses. For most of the day, they remain submerged, protected from the heat of the African sun. One female, marked by a scar behind her left ear, will soon begin an important chapter of life. Each morning begins with familiar routines that have changed little for thousands of generations. Life within a pod depends on constant communication, even when little appears to be happening. Beneath the calm surface lies a complex social structure shaped by experience and familiarity. Territory is often maintained through displays and warning signals rather than direct conflict.
Within the pod, position and experience help maintain stability among dozens of individuals.
As the day goes hotter, remaining submerged helps prevent overheating. Although they appear inactive, the river remains the center of daily life. Among the adults, one female is preparing for a very different challenge. For an expectant mother, selecting a suitable area can improve the chances of a successful birth. The final days before birth are often spent in calmer, more sheltered waters. The next generation begins beneath the surface of the river. Within moments of birth, the calf must already master one essential task: breathing. For the first days of life, protection and proximity are critical. In a river filled with opportunity and danger, the mother's presence offers the calf its greatest security. Buoyancy and balance are skills that develop through constant practice. Every journey becomes a lesson in movement, awareness, and trust. Curiosity encourages exploration, but security remains close at hand. Soon, the young calf must learn to navigate life within a much larger community. The pod provides both protection and a complex social environment. Much of a hippo's world exists beneath the surface. Each dive improves coordination and confidence in the water. The river offers endless opportunities for discovery. With every passing week, the calf becomes more capable and more confident. As confidence grows, the young hippo begins to explore beyond the immediate safety of its mother. Every corner of the river contains lessons about food, shelter, and awareness. Practice gradually transforms uncertainty into skill. Life within the pod provides constant opportunities for learning. When temperatures fall, a different routine begins. For a young hippo, the world beyond the water is still unfamiliar. Hippos spend much of the night feeding, gathering the energy needed for life in the river. The transition toward independence begins with small steps and simple habits. Before the heat returns, the river once again becomes a refuge. For young calves, vigilance remains essential. Not every river resident is harmless. A mother's awareness can make the difference between safety and danger. In the river, caution is often the best defense. Weeks become months, and confidence gradually replaces uncertainty. Life within the pod teaches lessons no parent can provide alone. Increasing independence is a sign of healthy development. Skills once learned through practice have now become second nature. As the seasons change, the river itself begins to transform. Less water means less space for everyone who depends upon it. Crowded conditions increase both competition and social tension. Remaining submerged remains the best protection against the intense African heat. Living in close quarters requires constant adjustment and awareness. Every dry season tests the resilience of both animals and ecosystems. The young hippo is now becoming an active participant in pod life. Experience within the group provides the foundation for adult life. The calf that once depended entirely on its mother is steadily becoming a mature member of the herd. Independence arrives gradually, shaped by experience and familiarity. By learning the rules of pod life, it secures its place within the community. The routines of adulthood are becoming its own. The skills needed for survival are now firmly established. What was once learned through following now comes naturally. It is no longer simply a calf within the herd. It is becoming part of the herd itself. The bond remains, but dependence has faded. Across the river, countless stories unfold at once. Some are only beginning, others are nearing completion. From its first breath beneath the surface to its place within the herd, the journey is complete. Yet the river endures.
As dawn spreads across the African savanna, a bonded pair of black-backed jackals begins another day within a territory they know intimately. Success often depends on patience. Every movement beneath the grass could mean a meal. Like many small predators, jackals rely on sharp hearing more than speed. Unlike many predators, black-backed jackals often maintain long-term pair bonds that strengthen their chances of survival. Soon, this territory may become more than a hunting ground. It may become a nursery. Preparation begins weeks before new life arrives. Every scent marker sends a message to neighboring jackals. This ground is occupied. Hidden beneath the savanna, a new generation enters the world. For now, survival depends entirely on parental protection. Beyond the safety of the den lies an unfamiliar world filled with opportunity and risk. Every scent carries information: food, rivals, danger, and the paths of countless other animals. Keep watch.
The pups are safe.
I hear something. Lessons begin early. Experience will determine which pups eventually survive on their own. The ability to read the landscape is one of a jackal's greatest advantages. What appears to be play also develops coordination, awareness, and hunting skills. Soon, instinct begins to guide behavior. But instinct alone is rarely enough. Each pup learns at its own pace, gathering knowledge through trial and observation. The savanna rewards persistence far more often than speed. For a young jackal, a first successful hunt marks an important milestone. Avoiding heat can be just as important as finding food. Constant awareness helps reduce the risks that accompany life in open country. Conditions can change quickly across the African plains. Even a brief shower transforms the landscape and the routines of its inhabitants. Rain leaves behind a wealth of new information, carried in fresh tracks and scents. The ability to interpret signs left by other animals is essential for survival. Young jackals learn not only through experience, but by watching those who have already mastered the terrain. Many of the lessons are silent. Observation becomes a powerful teacher. Small prey may seem insignificant, but every success builds confidence and skill. As the pups mature, they travel farther from the den and spend more time exploring the wider territory. Night brings new opportunities, but also new dangers. With each passing week, dependence gives way to independence. The techniques once demonstrated by adults are now becoming instinctive. The savanna is shared with many predators. Vigilance remains essential. Rather than confrontation, survival often depends on knowing when to avoid a stronger rival. As the pups grow, the family begins using a larger portion of its territory. Confidence grows with experience, and independence begins with small decisions. Skills that once required guidance are now becoming reliable tools for survival. Even play continues to refine coordination and awareness. Awareness and caution remain among the most valuable lessons their parents can provide. The young jackals now spend more time relying on their own judgment. Beyond these familiar boundaries lies a wider and more uncertain world. Soon, the choices made without parental guidance will shape the next chapter of its life. Exploration carries risks, but it is the first step toward independence. Without the security of the family group nearby, every decision becomes more important. Skills learned over months are now being tested in the real world. The East African savanna, a land of contrast. Here, a black-backed jackal pup shelters from the unforgiving heat. The landscape of its youth is gradually becoming part of the past. The awkward pup that once remained hidden underground has become a capable survivor. Across Africa's open plains, countless journeys begin in much the same way. Night brings uncertainty, but also opportunity for those prepared to meet it. The lessons of territory, caution, and persistence continue long after family life has ended. A new day begins, and with it, another chapter in the endless cycle of survival. The black-backed jackal moves through the golden savanna, disappearing into the tall grass at sunrise.